Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. And good morning, all you second breakfasters. Hope you guys are hungry for some interesting discussions this morning. Had a nice one on one with the OGGM yesterday and looking forward to his next game on the 2nd of May. If you guys are interested in getting a good laugh while watching some old timers role play, I suggest you check it out 1 p.m. Avocado time. All us West Coast grognards will be there, uh, role playing our little hearts out, and that kind of segues into what happened last night for me while I was sleeping. Hey, what's up, Huey? Long time no see, man. Hope you're doing well. Uh, I was watching season 1 of the Venture Brothers again because it's one of my favorite TV shows, and I Hey James, how you doing? And weirdest thing happened last night is I was dreaming, and as some of you know, I'm pretty good at lucid dreaming. Where I realize I'm dreaming, and I start uh, sort of consciously controlling what I was dreaming about. But it spurred me onto a thought process that literally had to wake me up and write down some notes for tomorrow morning's show, which will be the beginning of a series, I hope. Uh, I had some insight into role playing, but yeah, it was weird, but I'm getting kind of used to it. Any of you guys ever do that? I know it's kind of woo woo sounding, but it's a real thing, and I find that as I get older, I'm more able to remember what I was dreaming about, and at certain lucky moments, I get to steer the dream into something more enjoyable. But I wanted to talk about role playing games. I don't know if you guys are up for that. It's kind of why we come here. Sometimes we talk about other stuff, painting, and I'm currently working on a bunch of treasure piles, trying to get them to sparkle. I'm trying to use a blue ink on these silver coins to get them to look a little more, again, blue, obviously, but a little more silver. I need to go back over them with the blue wash. Can you see that coming in? Hey, what's up, Mobius? Can you see any blue in there? I know it's easier on this one. I think you can see a little. No, maybe not. That one's actually. I think I've already gone back over and dry brushed more silver. Coins are hard. What I normally do with gold coins is I'll paint them gold. I'm just happy if I can sleep. I'll hit them with gold, and then as you might be able to tell here, I'll hit them up with the soft tone over the gold to get into those little nooks and crannies, and then I'll go back over with a brighter dry brushing of gold. You can see I've got like two different piles of gold, and they look vastly different. Partially also because yeah, these are the identical pieces, but one, this one right here, I zenithal white over black. Here, I just did white, and then I painted them gold. Blue black with dry brush silver. I actually like to use this metallic blue or this Vallejo blue, which I think is a little more subdued and more fitting, which I actually put over this high tech police car. It looks kind of stubby, doesn't it? I was expecting it to look more like the vehicle from Aliens, but it turned out like this, and I'm actually okay because we need some police cars. I might order a couple more of these just so we can have obviously more of them because it goes along with this one I've showed before. This one's an old. Who made this? I think Grendel made this one. This one's a little bigger, but it's actually 25 mil scale, where this is 28. But they do look similar enough to go together. Really, really dig them. Jackie scared the crap out of the party last week, or last game, I should say, with this one. Uh, I think I have another one of these, but I'm saving it because it's a flat mold. I can make more with some blue stuff and some dental plaster, but I am looking to get at least one more of these, maybe two, and one of them I will paint in like a green camouflage, something like that. The same with this, but this to me does not seem. It seems more urban, less military, although a militarized policed look to it, but it just doesn't quite look as, warlike as this one. Even though it's only got the one heavy machine gun or Vulcan cannon. Uh, yes, absolutely. Speed paints over silvers and golds and other metallics really get you that sort of candy apple Iron Man red over gold. It looks fantastic. Uh, other effects as well. Maybe copper if you're looking for a deeper red. But I'm, I'm I'm looking at also another vehicle. It's kind of like a VTOL or maybe just an anti grav air vehicle. It's still also kind of small, but it's by Grendel, and I've seen a couple of them lately, and I have one still in the box, and I don't want to do anything with it. What's up, Dean? Because, like I said, I can take some blue stuff and take the individual pieces, like for example, like this wheel, where you don't need the back end to be all that detailed, and I can sink it into the blue stuff up to about this point, maybe even a little further. And then when the blue stuff sets, I can pull it out and then fill it with dental plaster and get a reproduction of this piece. And since the hulls are there's nothing on the bottom, uh, yeah, that game was great. I showed it to Armstrong. He has yet to reply. I really dig the helicopters, even though it's a racing game. I like the way they did the one. It looks like a one piece miniature. Maybe you have to put the propeller on, but that game looks like a lot of fun for a lot of normies who don't really do the Gasland thing or any crafting or modeling and just want to just have a goofy sort of race to the finish, but blow your friends up along the way. It definitely looks like something I could get on the table one of these days, and wouldn't mind having in the collection. But having players, that's a completely different thing. Um, it definitely looks like more of a beer and pretzels kind of game. And I have to, James, I have to get Jackie to help me go through the mats that you sent and pick one and keep it for herself. I think we're probably going to go with one of the green ones, just because it seems like it'll be more useful. And then the rest of the stuff will go out to the giveaway, which is this Friday. I was making piles of stuff. I need to go through one last container cabinet and pull out a couple other items to add to it. But I think we're going to have like 10 lots of items, or, uh, basically 10 different prizes for the giveaway. Sorry, you guys overseas. I'm working on stuff to make it up to you guys as well, especially you, Dean and James. Uh, I literally, Dean, still have the box and the custom slip filled out. uh, every once in a while, someone's like, "Well, what's this? Why are you sending something to where you live?" And I'm like, just waiting for the tariffs to come down or something. I might have to fill it out and put down a much lower value on it to knock that price down to get it out to you. Uh, that's cool. I was supposed to make a couple of orders for minis this month. For my birthday, I usually order from Bronze Age on my birthday, and I wanted to get some of those zombies, but more than the zombies and the tech guys, I really wanted to get that set that had like the superheroes, the Shadow and the Phantom, the old pulp hero characters. Of course, out of stock, and until they're there, I'm not going to add or even make an order to. It's Rebel Miniatures. Was that the one? But I am glad that you got them. But speaking of jackasses online selling things, I have had two, three. I'm going to count three. Three different Etsy/eBay 3D printers that they pull this same shenanigan where they take your money, then they print up a label, and then they never ship it, which means they have to pay for the label, but then they're so flaky as to not be able to get to the post office and then actually ship what you purchased. And two out of three times I've had to file a claim. That way they get to keep the money, and Etsy takes or eBay takes the bite. With eBay, I actually got my money back, and I'm sure they didn't get that money because it was well over $100. I think it was maybe even $200. Uh, uh, but I mean, if you're doing that, I mean, I have a package ready to go out this morning, and mind you, it's a little late, but that's because I couldn't find it, and I've always got trouble actually printing the shipping label because I don't have a printer anymore, and I have to have the wife print the label from her work, which is kind of sketchy. I need to get a printer, but I don't have enough sales to make it worth the while. Uh, yeah, he needs to do some recasting. Yeah, sorry, Dean. And this was actually a FDM print, and while if you look really close, you can see the lines. There, you don't feel that rough, rigid, demarcation of the lines. This one's pretty smooth. I was really happy with this one. Just it took a month to get. I'm like, dude, are you doing this or not? Freaking get it out to me. Come on. I mean, if he was quicker, I mean, I literally had forgotten I'd ordered this. That's how long it took him. Uh, I just happened to scroll down on my Etsy purchase list just far enough to see this, and it's like I ordered that. I don't remember, and it was overpriced. I think I paid $25 for this, and it's not. I've seen them cheaper now, and I'll just look elsewhere. And the order I'm talking about, James, is the Sector Alex. Those little 15, 18, whatever millimeter airships and steampunk looking troopers and vehicles. The guy just can't get off his ass. Actually, I think it's a girl. Uh, and just, do you have them printed? If not, you know, you've had plenty of time to print them. I ordered them on the 13th, I want to say, and they still, haven't put anything in the mail. I mean, if you're having a technical problem with your printer, just let somebody know. But if you're not, don't don't go printing the label and thinking that absolves you of anything. I don't print my labels until the, the day before I'm actually going to ship them, because like on eBay will tell you as soon as you print the label that it's in the mail, and they'll tell your customer that, hey, it's on its way. And I'm like, it's not on its way. It will be today when you hear the doorbell ring. That'll be my local postal carrier coming in to pick up the item. And then from that point, I'm out of the picture. They've got it. They scan it at the door, and the customer knows, hey, in 2 to 3 days they'll get their item, which is why I really like the flat rate postal boxes, because you can insure them. Well, they come insured for $50. It's like just under $10 to ship like the VHS cassette or like 4 blister packs, sandwiched for $10 with $50 insurance. You can up the insurance and all that. So I scrambled to get that ready for the customer this morning and popped in a couple of little extra minis. So I've done that now. Uh, I've had over 5,000 sales on eBay, which means I've given away anywhere between 5 and 20,000 free miniatures over the course of being on eBay, and I still have probably a good 500 minis I could just throw in the bin and not care, that are like my freebies plus the stuff that I do actually want to sell. And I need to start getting back into that because I noticed that the number of items I have on eBay is really small now. It's only about 20 items, but each one of those items is $50. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now. I still need to finish these giants, but they're at that 3/4 phase, and I'm not sure what to do with them. It's like I could call them done. Like this guy, I need to do a little work on the base. I need to do the necklace, and then some dry brushing on the clothing, maybe a little on his face to bring it out, not make it so dark. And then I can just call it a day. And I need to find something to put these bad boys in because they're really nice minis that Cal sent me, but I don't know where to put them. I've got uh, because they're metal. I want to put them in something with foam padding, and I might have to just buy like an actual special dedicated miniature box just for them because a lot of the other things I use just won't cut it. The cardboard boxes, nope. The Chess X cases are too small. The Harbor Freight boxes are there's no padding and no way to really put any padding in there, and it's not worth it. You just use them for bigger plastic things like Shadows of Brimstone or Whiz Kids, because if they knock around, they're not going to break, and if they do break, I can glue them pretty easily, and the pieces will be right there. So, what are you guys up to? Uh, like I said at the beginning, I wanted to talk about role playing games and some of our favorites. I'm running out of favorite RPGs. Some of them that I've been playing for years and years just aren't really hitting those spots. You guys ever have that happen where an RPG just kind of not I guess you call it burnout. You just get tired of that particular thing. I'm still enjoying my D&D game. I'm still enjoying my Savage Swords game, but I'm looking for something vastly different. I'm looking over at my Red Room games over there. Maybe I'll look at Darker and see if I can't get something ready for the fall. I will be running that Traveler game, but the more I learn about space and all the difficulties of being out in space, the harder I find it to suspend my disbelief. And I know that people out there, a lot of people are like, well, they're all fantasies, blah blah blah. Yeah, but there's a difference between hard sci-fi or sci-fi and traditional fantasy. One we know is absolutely not real. With swords and sorcery kind of fantasy, we know this stuff 99.999% of the time never happened, was never real, never will be real, unless it's in some alternate dimension or galaxy or whatever where we can never really access. But then with hard sci-fi and hand wavy sci-fi, you still have that hope, right? That maybe someday we'll figure out anti-grav, we'll figure out the shielding and force fields and things like that to keep the micrometeors from destroying anything that goes out there, and the effects on the human body that's not meant to be in space at all. I think it's like after 3 months you're just toast. Your body is just wrecked. and they got to send you back home. And the other list is there's like between 5 and 7 things that absolutely keep us from really being in space for any length of time. And so I'm finding it real hard to suspend my disbelief or I almost feel like misleading people when I do think about sci-fi. In that part of me knows that there's a lot of people out there really banking on. And what the heck, that was weird, something made a noise. um, really banking on and pinning their hopes on that star that is outer space and going to other planets and things like that, when just finding it harder and harder to think it's anything other than fantasy. And I know people who play in sci-fi games don't want that. They want to act like it is feasible at some point in the future. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what our collective governments are gonna try and disclose. I don't know. You guys buying any of that? The whole UFO, advanced technologies stuff. Any of you guys out there think it's anything more than just another distraction from? Oh, hey, you take this downstairs. Distraction from any of the things they uh, claim to want to do for us. I don't know. I'm not buying it. What do you want? What do you want, dog? Okay, fine. Be that way. Be that way. The pupper, always looking for food or attention. Right now, I think he's looking for food, even though I fed him plenty this morning. No, anybody even watching? Am I just talking to myself? Do you guys all bail on me? Let's see what it says here. Yeah, I don't think anybody's out there. It's just me babbling to myself. Well, that's depressing. Let's check on the other end if anybody's out there. If not, I'll hey, I'll call it. Hey, relax, relax, little dog. How about a? It says there's 6 people watching. Well, that's depressing. Let's check. Cave on painting. Okay, messages are finally coming in. Uh, what is Armored Clash? Which is that 10 millimeter dystopian landship game? Is that what it's called? Because I thought it was called uh, Sector Alex. It had a huge Kickstarter, or maybe not huge, but it had a Kickstarter, and there's a bunch of interesting uh, expansions or something. Mini terrariums. For you, it's Cthulhu and RuneQuest. Hey, what's up, Daryl? That's interesting. Obviously we could send mechanical things out there. Voyager's been out there. I recently read a thing where Voyager's been out there about 50 years, which is the equivalent of at its speed, which is like 60,000 kilometers a second, which is just insane, or minute. Either way, it's one light day of travel in 50 years, and Alpha Centauri, Proxima Centauri, 1 light year or 4 light years away. So we're looking at 17,000 years before it gets there, and there might not be anything there. How sad would that be? Not that we're going to know. You know, I like that very very much so. But lately, I've been creating some on Night Cafe as character images for some of my RPGs. Little terrarium jar, gravel and foliage, and your minis on display like a little diorama. The only problem with that is depending on because we used to do that. We actually, my mom and dad had terrariums, and we'd put minis in there so it would look like there's little dudes running around. Is the water can affect and the moisture can affect the colors if you don't clear coat them and the bases. If you clear coat the bases, you should be okay. But like with me, I use a lot of like gravel and sand and things like that, and it wouldn't be hard for plants to start growing through and about them. But maybe I'll try that. Right now, we're trying to grow orchids of all things, like the most delicate flower of flowers. Oh my god, they're pretty, sure, but they're pretty much a pain in the ass with the delicate care you have to take with them. They get like a teaspoon of water every 3 days, and anything more than that will kill them. Like wow, that's pretty. It's pretty fragile, right? Yeah, I wouldn't make them wet. I would use dry moss, and pouring resin, etc. Aquarium plants. I'm going shopping this weekend, and I'm going to look. The only place I really get to look is our local Walmart, and it doesn't really have a big section. It's about this big for the the decoration for your aquarium. The traditional skull and fake wood and little castles and stuff like that. A couple of times I've seen some little castles that actually looked like usable for maybe 6 mil, but then there's like nowhere to actually put the bases, the stands of miniatures, so they kind of end up being better, I think, for something like Man of War, where you can just put it on an island and it's just scenery, so to speak. Or maybe you could have your wizard up there, using it as his base of operations. But anything beyond that, not so much. But games I would like to play or plan on playing, definitely Planet of the Apes. But I'm still banging my head against a wall on where to set it and what what's the setting like, and what's the overall sort of mood and theme and tone of that particular game. Uh, that's some good aquarium terrain that works as is. Yeah, I suppose with the plants, they're just your basic, um, jungle looking bushes. Not so much the trees. I find that nothing is ever like more than that tall with the aquarium terrain. It's all just stuff for the ground so the fish can kind of hide and pretend they're hiding from predators or whatever. I don't know, or us, I guess. I don't know. Um, I do want to give Final Frontier a try, and maybe um, Wretched Country, but I heard they're redoing that one and adding a bunch of stuff, so I'll probably put that on the. I would play an uplifted ape astronaut and traveler called Charlton. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he was one of the greatest actors of all time, if not the greatest actor of all time, convincing us all that he wasn't like one homely motherfucker. Excuse my French, but he was kind of rough, and yet the ladies loved him, right? Some of the ruins get quite big and even work with. Really, I'm Not familiar with that. I haven't seen anything good. And we used to have a really, really famous tropical fish store right around the corner from where I lived. And I never really went in there. It never occurred to me. Plus, I wasn't really using a lot of minis back then. It was mostly theater of the mind. I also have another game from the Red Room coming in, uh, End of the Innocence or something like that. You know, your typical Erie, Indiana, Stranger Things, kids on bikes kind of game, which I did have a lot of fun with. All those TV shows uh, in the past, a long time ago, with my buddies back in Orange County, and I've had someone Mark, excuse me, uh, clued me into a book. Do I have it over here? I don't think so. Another one of those kids on bikes kind of game that was kind of like a blatant ripoff of Stranger Things, uh, riding on the coattails of that. Maybe I'll just go look online and see if there's some good aquarium terrain. Another game I'm looking at playing is I've been talking about it for a long time, and now that I've finally actually gone all the way through the Venture Brothers and watched the movie, I really want to run my strange not my stranger my Supernatural slash Venture Brothers campaign. Imagine the Venture Brothers, but in a world where it's more like Hank and Sam and Dean's, more realistic version of a supernatural world, but with a lot of over the top Doctor Strange and Night Stalker elements, with a sort of like a couple of big organizations of organized villainy and organized huntering, monster slaying, kind of like in Chill, where they have Save, the big organization that's sort of underground that hunts monsters down and keeps the world safe, but in a world that maybe has like a little bit more knowledge of things that go bump in the night. I haven't tried any of his games, Mark. I actually have an extra copy of one of his games I'll be giving away. They're okay, but it's not something I'm going to run. I would play in them if he invited me to a game. I would jump on it, but I'm not. He's really really big into the cyberpunk sort of mood and whatnot. Yeah, Dark Places and Demogorgon is the name. Uh, Speak of the devil. I guess I say your name and you show up. But yeah, that was a really fun little book. I could see running it with the right group of players, but at the same time, it does seem kind of weird to get a bunch of grown-ups playing a bunch of kids. There's always going to be that stigma for that game, but I could see running it for a group of kids. When I have the shop and they want to play, can we play Stranger Things? I'm like, well, we got this. And I think that would be where that should be placed. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you think it's weird playing a bunch of kids that weren't like grown ups turned into kids through some sort of curse or something? Like the Twilight Zone or Cocoon, or do you think you could pull it off and it wouldn't be like one of those glory days kind of thing, reliving your childhood? I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me. But I got to admit, Stranger Things, even the last season, a lot of people didn't like it, except for the one thing that I thought was just overhyped and not realistic. Nobody did that back in my day. Even if they were like that, they didn't make a big deal out of it. No schoolgirl simulator for me. Yeah, right. My childhood was quite happy and quite busy and quite full of things, but I don't want to go back to it uh, for any reason. Maybe go back to my 30s or something and fix a couple of things, but Going back to being a teenager or younger, yeah, no, no, not really there. But I do like the genre of stories. Something wicked this way comes, etc. They are fun to read those stories and see those stories on TV. But a full fledged game where I'm in charge, I don't know. We'll see. I did order the book from Amazon, and it'll be here today, I believe, and we'll see how that pans out. If it's something that could be runnable, because I know it's definitely probably not something. No, no, that was the other game, which I'm going to get next from them, which is Grindhouse. Presumably, whatever character I play is going to make more or less grown up. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Grindhouse. I was thinking about that one as definitely some inspiration for the Venture Brothers kind of game because watching it from season one last night, there were some really, really adult lines and situations. Molotov just absolutely right out of a grindhouse exploitation film, uh, and some of the other things throughout the series. That there was nothing like that in Supernatural, and that was one thing that I thought was missing from that show. It was too family friendly to be believable past the second or third year when they when they finished up the thing with the Colt. Uh, everybody I think agrees it went downhill. Jumping the shark with the Leviathans, it just became really it should have been left alone, I think. But it went on for what 13 or 14 more seasons. Venture Brothers went on for seven. Mush them together. I think I get five good seasons out of something like that with the right tweaking. And Jackie's come up with some really good ideas. Trying to get him to watch it with me before I go on to watching it with the commentary. Uh, you guys ever watch commentaries? Like a movie or a TV show with a commentary on. I've only done that with I think Fight Club or Pulp Fiction is the only time I've ever done that. Yeah, kids are NPCs to rescue. I agree um, unless you've got a kid at the table, and then I don't think having them play an adult is really it's kind of the same thing. You have no idea as a kid how to run a proper adult beyond a couple of years. Yeah, I just uh, never really have the time for that, but this time I'm going to, unless it's Tom Baker. Were there any commentaries in the Doctor Who DVDs? I don't own any. I probably never will. That it's hilarious. Okay, because I think Doc Hammer and Jackson Public would really give us some really interesting pieces of information with all the pop culture references. Why David Bowie is plays so prominent throughout the story up to a certain point, obviously, and other little references like I fell out of my chair when uh, I think it was the Monarch mentioned Steve Bators and Lydia Lynch. I think I'm like, am I the only guy who remembers that guy? You know, uh, bonus points for anybody who remembers who Steve Bators was. Uh, why he was kind of famous for like a minute. I'll give you a clue. He was on MTV, but why and how and where that's for you guys. I'm sure someone out there is going to freaking Google his ass. He died in a most ridiculous fashion. I think he broke his arm and refused take proper care of it while it was in its cast, and um, some sort of infection or whatever happens when you don't have a bone set properly. And I think like your marrow or something starts getting interfering with your blood. It was just like it was sad, but he was, who he was. David Bowie, for his faults, was holding the fabric of the universe together. After he died, you can't argue the world didn't get crazy. The world's always been crazy. I think it's just like a snowball thing, um, with technology and the internet and bringing us closer together, which I think is always a bad idea. I mean, obviously family and friends, but bringing strangers and things like that into your home is kind of probably not a good idea. Just anytime we have like a construction crew or someone giving us an estimate on a job, we're always like nervous as hell. It's like, you know, we do a lot of safety precautions, hiding the mail and little things that they can't just, pocket, and everything is just like spotless. Come sit here on this table with absolutely nothing on it, no clues, no giveaways, no free information, and then we turn them down. Invariably, 9 times out of 10, anybody who comes to give us an estimate, it's like, yeah, no, we're probably just going to hire some Mexicans, right? That's usually what happens, and uh, that has its own innate uh, security risks. But yeah, I'm going to try real hard to get the boy to watch the last couple of seasons with me, and then maybe start over with the commentary and see if he's interested in watching that. I doubt he'll have the time for it, but it's on my summer to do list, and then start working on that. I'm still not sure what game engine I would use to run that game. The all of the red room, red micro red, all those game mechanics really don't allow for some of the superheroics that we kind of saw in the Venture Brothers, and some of it would be okay if I was just like trying to play supernatural, but even then I think you know Dean took so much damage in so many of the fights, that wouldn't be you wouldn't be able to replicate it. I don't own any Savage World books. I'm not a big fan of some of the mechanics that I've seen. I almost want to say I want to go with uh, almost Palladium, believe it or not, because it has so many things that you can pop in and out, and so many mechanics for superpowers and abilities and skills that give bonuses like they kind of should, in my opinion. I just hate the combat for Palladium. It's just so clunky and simulationist, and I don't really want to spend an hour or two of a session with one combat. I want something that flows faster when it comes to combat. I'm trying to think of some of the other games that are on my list that I do want to play. I do kind of want to play Blade Runner, uh, but I really don't like the idea that you have to have such a limited group. I think a group of Blade Runners and some other support characters could work, but everybody's like, yeah, you can only have one Blade Runner or two max, and I'm like, bullshit. I've had so many games with multiple fighters, thieves, or magic users, and they all had plenty to do, especially if it's a chase across the game universe or whatever, to track down a group of synthetics Yeah, it's a hot mess. I could like write everything for it and then let somebody else run it, but that wouldn't work because I want to, keep some of the surprises. That was one of the things I liked about it. That and Heroes, I definitely need to rewatch Heroes because I love the way those 2/3 IP stories. What the hell? Had so many storylines weaving in and out of the episodes. A little clue here, a little clue here that would inform on the big reveal. A year later or 3 years later, or even at the end. I really like that kind of storytelling, but getting people to stick around for the whole time to see that's another one of the big issues that we all face in online gaming. And I've talked about before. People just not being able to commit, dropping out, quitting, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's really hard to plan anything, and you guys know how much I hate one shots and limited run games, like the stuff we do on my Saturday night show. It's just really unsatisfying for me as a GM. I know everybody's time is precious, and there's so many things they could be doing with that time. But I don't know. What do you guys think? You're more inclined to play one shots and mini campaigns than you were in the past. I just just I want more. I want something substantial and something fulfilling and engaging, and that's going to have some legs that will last for a while, and isn't just let's test this out and see if we like it. It's like you bought it. If you didn't like it, you wouldn't have bought it. Most of us, unless it's a Games Workshop product where it's sealed and you can't actually look inside the book. I mean, you can do research, you can check it out, you can read the blurb on the back, and if you can look inside the book, you can look at some of the charts, the game mechanics quickly, and decide if you think it's for you. Maybe in the fine print, you might find a few things you don't like, but nobody plays any game raw as far as I'm concerned. And you can tweak it, pull things out, add things from other games. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys okay with the shorter game runs, shorter stories, shorter adventures? For me, I've been playing online now. I want to say about 4 years, and uh, I can honestly say out of the 4 years that I played, only two campaigns I was in ended with no huge amount of regrets that it was over. One instance, we knew it was coming, and we had plenty of warning. We're going to play for this long, and we got the thing done. And okay, time to retire. We've all been all over the game world, done all kinds of things. Makes kind of sense. And the other one, we um, in OGGM's game, we kind of screwed ourselves uh, in in premise from the beginning. We were all from different parts of time and space. So when someone with power above ours, who could realize where we were from and how we were disrupting the multiversal timeline, said, you guys got to go back home. You don't belong here. And we couldn't argue the point, but it was fun. It was a fun ride while it lasted. But what are you going to do? Argue with Doctor Strange? Yeah, I don't know. All right, James, you're happy to play anything, but I think people always like trying different games. I would rather lean on one or two rule sets only. Yeah, I kind of have. There's a lot of games that I've eliminated from ever going to play, but I still keep them as references, and and possible sources of inspiration. But there's some big ones that I think I'm going to get rid of. For example, the Elric and Stormbringer games. I'm never going to play them. Uh, I'm less and less a fan of the overall story, and they're worth a crap ton of money. As you know, I'm getting rid of uh, Hyperborea. I'm never going to play that one. There's a pretty big stack that I might uh, start putting together for the next giveaway when we hit 2,000 subscribers, if that day ever comes, or maybe I'll just eBay them. And uh, I don't really need an excuse to buy a stack of books. There's probably at least another 6 books from the Red Room that I will buy. Right, because that's one system so far that for everything that I've wanted to play or use it for, they work. It's hey, what's up, George? It's very low power, no Superman, no you know things like that. Crazy superpowers or monsters or anything like that. It's got a low ceiling of power for every game that I would use for it. And then there's villains and vigilantes for like the really crazy power levels, and then there's Amber for beyond that. But other than that, a lot of, and of course, I'll keep my Traveler books. They were always, I had a lot of fun with Travelers. Still one of my favorite games. One of these days, I'm gonna have to pull out Big Eyes Small Mouth. It's an anime game system that I don't even think I've ever read them, but there's a whole bunch of books in this box set that have like a lot of different genres, and I'm like, some of those sound pretty fun, but getting someone to play a game that's like an anime game, which I'm like, nothing makes a game anime other than uh, the visuals, in my opinion, and uh, that's all in your head, right? I mean, unless people start using miniatures or artwork to really hey, this is what my character looks like, and then this guy, he's got his character, well, this is what my character looks like, and it's freaking Rick Hunter from Robotech next to a realistic AI drawing of like photorealistic style, and they're supposed to hang out together, and suddenly you're running Who Framed Roger Rabbit. um, I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, Mecha Crew RPG. Maybe the only problem is unless it's in like some other galaxy far away, and there's no Earth, and there's a whole bunch of planets that are brand new, and technologies and things like that. Otherwise, you've got to be uh, yeah, you've got to be a big history student and be able to project forward and do all the politics for the breakdown of the nations and turn them into new things. That's why I couldn't get into BattleTech. It's like I didn't care about the countries and the nations. There were no aliens and nothing really exciting, just dull, dry, inner politics of places that just weren't interesting enough on their own to make me go, yes, I wish I lived there. With cyber tentacles and pants to torment Western audiences. That's why I like the Venture Brothers so much, because everything you just said there is over there in the Venture Brothers. Maybe, yeah, absolutely. Some craziness like that, but I don't know. What do you guys think? No, no, no ideas. But yeah, I guess I'll just keep looking, keep. You'd rather read about Rome? Yeah, exactly. I read a lot of the BattleTech books back in the day, and the most interesting thing I thought was all the stuff that had to do with the clans, and everybody freaking hates the clans. I'm like, well, I mean, obviously you should hate the clan, but the most exciting, you know, weird futuristic thing, besides the big stompy robots, which was cool. Hello, what's up, Miko? I guess you're new to the show. Um, um, yeah, but my general philosophy doesn't allow me to appreciate it. Yes, I can see you, Miko. Like I said, welcome to the show. Are you a role player, a gamer? What's up? That's what we do here normally. Normally, I have people join me, but today I don't know where you guys are, why you didn't join me. I feel hurt, man. Um, James L apparently can see you. I don't know who else is in the chat because that number's not showing up on my screen. Normally, it has a little eyeball symbol. It tells me how many people are watching, and today we got 7 people watching. But why it's not showing up? Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Just had to look for the 7. The symbol is all grayed out for some reason, and we usually talk about role playing games and movies and TV shows and things like that. And today we've been talking about. See, George is still there. Games we'd like to play in the future. Our favorite games. Uh, uh, Maybe you have your message set to disappear. That is a setting where you can make your messages disappear after a certain amount of time. It has nothing to do with that, James. It's my belief in heaven and an afterlife, and the fact that I'm going to be here 60 some odd years, maybe 70, even 100 is a blink compared to the time I'm going to hopefully spend in heaven or the time I'm going to spend in hell. And hopefully, if I end up in the hot place, I won't be thinking about this place. I'll be thinking about getting out and not going back to Earth. As much fun as I've had here, it's a one and done thing. Yeah, Pewee can see you. Uh, George can see you. 7 watching, only 6 likes. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Uh, someone's lagging on that part, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of people come in later to watch me blither and wax retarded throughout the day. Of course, I'll be back here to do this again tomorrow at the same time, 9 a.m. avocado time. Hopefully, I can get some people to join me because I think this is the longest show I've ever done solo. I've got 8 thumbs up now. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Life is short for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I've had a good one. I've done a lot of crazy things, had a lot of fun. But I really do take that part of my faith really seriously. Always have, and um, I've talked to a lot of priests about it, and they feel the same way. This is just a testing ground, a proving ground, if you will. And see if we pass the test. If we pass the test, cool. We get to go to the big party, or if not, we get to think about it. Sit in the corner and think about it for a good long time. And so I'm like, this is fun. This is great, but everything else is supposed to be either greater or worse. So I'm going to shoot for the greater, and hopefully I'll see all you guys up there, and then we can do some cool shit out there. Um, you know, when the time comes. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be playing some role playing games. I think that's probably why I got into the role playing games, is because I wanted to play in other places. As a lot of you guys know, I've been around some really ugly situations and learned some ugly truths, and it's frustrating not being able to do enough to fix things on any measurable scale. Helping a few people here and there, you know, just doesn't seem enough, and I wish I could do more. Yeah, this is a temporary stage, exactly, and focusing too much on it sounds dangerous. Being too much in love with the stuff here, and Lord knows I could be incredibly guilty of that. My collections alone are pass the test for the last battle. That's the dream, right? Like I say, even if I only get one of the cheap seats, like I'm at the concert, with my seats, there's like one of those pillars right in front of my seat. It's still better than trying to listen to the concert from, out in the parking lot. Um, I saw that once. There's I forget what stadium it was. There was actually a baseball a seat in the baseball stadium, and there's a column like right in front of it. I'm like, yeah, who okayed that, right? And yes, I sent James L. the God Wars rules, and he's been reading that. I've actually been thinking a lot about that one too, uh, trying to get it into a computer game, playable game function, or maybe an RPG. Thanks, James. It was really weird. You can ask the guys. It Once I got to a certain point, it kind of wrote itself. Once the basic mechanics of what you can do and the stages of what you can do, uh, you know, I was writing to keep up with the players and their desires and what can and can't be done, and things like that. And I can actually see. Uh, Turning it into thanks, team. I had a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work, guys. I mean, the worst part, the absolute worst part, was getting everybody to get their orders in on time. Oh my god! Uh, Thanks, James. It was so hard and so frustrating. A meaner, uh, harsher referee would have ended the game sooner because people would just be kicked for flaking and not putting in their orders. There were players that signed up at the beginning that when we had to call it quits because of the tragedies that were happening to people's lives, they had never put in a single order. Just kept saying, "I'll be there, man. I'll be there. I just got life, Blah, blah, blah. Never did a damn, not one single turn, not one single order. In the 9 months we played that, other people that would, almost like clockwork, miss a month, come back the next month, try to do two, things like that, with a computer as the referee, and no sense of leniency whatsoever. Just follow the rules and strictly by the book. Would have made it a lot more, you know, playable, and especially being able to play online, like where you get a notification, hey, it's time to put your orders in. You're going to do it? Okay, well, you've got, the clock is ticking. You've got 24 hours to put in your orders. Otherwise, you get no orders for the week, and then, of course, playing online, you could set those parameters like daily. You could put orders in once a day, once an hour. You could really, because the computer can keep up with all that. Me having to write all that down and make phone calls and back and forth emails. Uh, yeah, Dean, you and George and a few others that are here. regularly were some of the only people who really adhered to that. Hell, even my son, I had to drag, kicking and screaming, to the table to get him to do his things. And then some of the shit that he did, when you guys find out, when I tell everybody what everybody did and who they were, etc., you'd be like, why didn't I think of that? You know? And then other people, they came on strong, did some great stuff. There's this one guy, I forget his name offhand, blew everybody away. I mean, he wrote up lore and did all this awesome, awesome stuff, and then just disappeared. And I never heard from him again. And I had to kind of, kick a bunch of people. Some players, had their empires destroyed and they died, and that was it. And they're out of the game. No harm, no foul. Uh, Welcome to play again, except for one person, two people actually. Um, and it was a lot of fun, but a lot of note taking, and a lot of herding cats, which you know really, really is not. I mean, because there was 24 people at the beginning, and we got down to I think about nine. Okay, cool, James. Like I said, I really think that a human shouldn't be in charge of what I was doing. It's just literally I was spending more time on that than the other games I was in, because I would have to call people at different time zones, different times and schedules, and hear the excuses, or whatever, why they couldn't do it, why they weren't, why they were late, or and worse than that, like if I would send somebody a Discord message, hey, I need, there's Dean, what's up, man? If I had to send you a note, if I sent you a notice, right, and then I don't hear from you like for a week, like, what the fuck? I mean, who doesn't check their Discord like daily, right?
That's a good question, but I also have it on my phone and my computer, so I
Right,
kind of don't have an excuse.
and
I'm just impressed that I was one of the ones who like did it better, because that was still when I hadn't found out I needed vitamin B1 in my life. So I was still everything was
no,
hard.
no, you did great. George did great. Um, some of the other people, Bubba had to kind of drop out because of uh, family, and Armstrong, and there was no way, uh, with everything else that was going on, and other people. I was like, these guys have been friends for a freaking long time, and I just lost the it lost a lot of the fun,
Yeah,
uh, and I enjoyed writing the reports. It was fun, but I think the AI would have written them and read them out better than I did. You guys can go back and watch the whole history of what
yeah.
happened.
Oh, so I have a question. Is it officially over?
I don't know yet. I have to find everything, because in the remodeling, I put the maps in one place and the book of all my stuff in another place. I've got to get it together, and then I'll put out a poll, see who's still interested. Otherwise, I will, um, uh, maybe do like one last turn for everybody who's interested, because as you know, the God Wars is actually the prequel to the AD&D game that I'm still running 2.5 years later, and what you guys did has affected the world they're playing in.
Yeah,
And I knew a certain thing was going to happen, not like it was a railroad or anything, but I knew it was going to happen because of one of the players and what they were doing. So like the big catastrophe that happened at the end, that caused my D&D world to flood, so that there was nothing but a couple of islands left to
yeah.
run the game. I knew that was still going to happen. Exactly who or what did it, It was, one or two, three players were working on the same goal,
Mm.
to do that. Plus the NPC army, kingdoms that were doing the
Yeah.
It's funny with the random, because I would roll randomly every for the NPC armies
Yeah,
and what
I
they would
did
do.
notice that. I did remember that one of your complaints was that not enough people read the reports, so and took note of like what the NPCs did, and then and you said you could see it because they didn't change their actions.
Yeah. Let's see. God Wars was fun. I enjoyed reading the. Okay. You could definitely do something with it. I say this as a kind of layperson. The dude that made the continent fly won. Uh, it was either him or her, or the person that developed the first nuclear weapon and dropped it on the spiders, um, because uh, nuclear weapons trump like everything.
Mm.
Just saying.
Personally,
You
I
may
think I
have,
won, but I can't say why.
pardon?
If my last action went through, personally, I can say I won, but I can't say why, obviously.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. But yeah, you'd be surprised who did both those things. The guy that made the continent fly. My players just landed on that continent in the AD&D game a couple of weeks ago. They were running around, on it, trying to do something. So everything everybody did, uh, kind of made the world more fun. The D&D world. It was weird trying to, make the two work together without knowing, what was happening. Because I mean, I started the D&D game first, then I went and said, "Hey, let's do the God Wars. Why not?" And I think in a an AI run, computer program run version of the game, uh, would be a better way to go about it. At least for me. I mean, you guys have no idea how how hard it was to do that, and it bothers me more knowing how easy it would be for a computer to do it for me. You know, uh, but unfortunately, not knowing how to program and write any of that, um, I don't know where I would start. There's a slim chance that Jackie will eventually know how to do exactly that, because he's taking a lot of computer classes and he plays those kind of games, Hearts of Iron or whatever that game is, and uh, Solaris or something like that. I don't. He plays a lot of big strategy war games with those kind of skill trees and empire trees and technology trees and things like that, and converting it to magic and science. Would probably be pretty easy for him. But I don't know. There were a couple of complaints from people who did not like the idea of the technology mixed in, as empires advance. What do you guys think?
Since I'm on the call with you, my opinion is I don't mind it. It's just I had the issue that um, I wasn't surprised. What do you call it? Some of the things people did. I
Hmm.
just didn't know the rules allowed it.
Uh huh.
So that's maybe why my
Uh huh.
run was like very boring at first, maybe, and like
To
seems
be
kind of
honest,
conservative.
everybody. I'll let you know. Almost everybody did the same shit for the first 3 to 6 months. Like everybody, you know, built up the most basic stuff that you would absolutely want to have. Boosting up your god every chance you got, boosting up and expanding, and protecting and defending your properties. Everybody did all that, and it wasn't until a certain point that they would like pick a focus, like
Yeah.
one big project, as it were. Um, Have AI teach you to program? Yeah, I don't know that I've got that much space left in my brain to learn something so complicated. Right. We did, and there were many players who went more for technology than magic. Obviously, others that went more magic for tech, but we never got to see which would win. And to be honest, the nuclear weapon, I think. Sure, there's a whole lot of magic shit that could trump that in certain ways, but on just sheer unstoppable laws of physics. Once you split the atom and use that on your enemy and drop it on their head, the only thing that's going to protect you is a force field. And unfortunately, that person did not have a force field to protect them or protect their kingdom when it landed.
Yeah.
And the
Shadow.
spiders, yeah,
I think what I would have done had I known like the what the rules allowed, I would probably like had made like mechs, but they're piloted, but they're like golems you pilot, so magic mechs. That's
you
probably
know
what I
what?
would have done.
Nobody did that, and that's a beautiful idea. It should have been. It should have been an actual thing under like the monster section uh, to upgrade it. Or like if you threw in your prophet or a wizard or a priest inside a golem, so they occupy the same space, and therefore the two numbers, the numbers of the pilot and the monster stacked, and then could also cast the one spell a turn kind of thing. Yeah, I think I can easily add that in when I revise and go back to the rules. And yes, I did send out rule updates, and the rules were available, and kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But I the whole time I was like, I want to play this freaking game, man. I want to see what I could do against the AI and the other players, not knowing who was who. Uh, I know, George. I can totally tell, and you and several other people were very much into it. A couple of people really, really just phoned it in, and I mean like literally phoned it in. It's like I do the same thing as I did last turn. Okay, I mean I know one player that said that like 20 times.
Like, did they just say it, or did they copy paste reaction from before?
Literally on the phone.
Okay, that's yeah,
There were
that's not
reasons,
respecting the
and with
game.
they had their reasons, and it made kind of sense
Mm.
in their strategy, which was uh, different than anybody else's, but very repetitive to keep that strategy going. Yeah, that was one of my favorites too. The colonizing of the moons, uh, and how early some players like caught on. It's like, oh wait a minute, I can do that. I just need a magic 10, and I could instantly just start freaking splitting my forces, and actions. Like, okay, I'll do a little something here on the planet to make it look like I'm still doing stuff, but the whole time I'm funneling, crap to the moon and building and using my hidden actions to keep it from being known. It was just like, yeah, that's a viable option. That is a thing you could do, or digging underground and having your entire empire underground. Many people did that as well, so you couldn't see much, or having the secret nuclear laboratory, building the atom bomb, waiting to drop it on the first person who got uppity. That
It
was
is kind of funny was the spiders that got hit, like the creatures known like spiders.
hmm hmm and it was funny. It's like when I was explaining that to that player, it's like the tech aspect is like instantly I'm doing that. That's it. That's my whole thing is that I want to be the first person to drop the nuclear weapon on the first person that gets a little uppity, and they did everything because there were people that were close to like developing the weapon, but easily months behind, and it was not a close enough race. Had that person got uppity, but I think they actually allied uh, because that was an interesting thing. Once radio was invented, certain empires suddenly had radio, and they started communicating for free. Um, it was pretty interesting. The alliances, or it's at least just the communiques that were going across, and the big alliance that was developing, the sort of United Nations that was developing was kind of problematic in that if it got to a certain point, they would just automatically win because you couldn't beat them. They all had like uh, contingency forces that would just like stomp on anybody who it's like like you got to fight all the beans in the burrito kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
uh,
also why, what do you call it? I went with the strategy I went with.
mhm. Yeah,
Cause
yeah.
like,
I also uh,
cause like, what do you call it? Big alliances usually means one or two things. We are gonna move into one nation or a very big war.
mhm. I know, George. I can tell. I can tell, and especially George, you had the unique position of creating the art for this. So, uh, doing the art the way you did and not knowing who anybody was an absolute testament to your skill and objectivity and impartiality because you just you came up with all that great art and a lot of it that didn't even make it into the book, the rule book, just because I couldn't get it all in the right place. And yes, once the elves started, aligning themselves with each other, that started that snowball down, an ugly path of, potential world domination because, they could each afford to like have a small force of highly mobile units that could just mess up anybody who started messing with any one of their other allies, whether it was elves or hobbits or whatever. It's like, oh, you're gonna mess with our little hobbit friends? Boom, you know, and that makes total logical sense that strategy would be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you can't do anything about it. You can't stop it. You can try to beat them by making another alliance, or you can join them. You put a little extra effort on the art of your faction. No offense, but it wasn't noticeable. It was all fantastic. Everything.
I actually kind of
Uh,
wonder if my faction ever got art. At
yeah,
least I
no,
wasn't
absolutely.
shown it.
Everything got some.
Okay.
Maybe not as much as you would like, but I tried to have him create like art of all the gods and
Oh,
and
I
things.
mean more like I was never shown if anything were created.
I wouldn't say any more than that without giving yourself away.
Okay.
Just saying. The vampires too. The vampires were freaking like. If anybody could have defeated the alliance, it would have been the vampires or the people who made the bomb. Was it the Mothman who made the bomb? Trying to remember. I think it was the Mothman who made the bomb.
Yeah, the vampires. That was a fun bunch. Like just consuming the horse of the North Pole.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. And the more they did, the bigger they got, because if they defeated the god, they got to keep like all the troops, and even then, if they didn't get to keep the troops they killed, they could animate as zombies and skeletons. So they just like boom, 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 boom. By the end, uh, they were pretty freaking powerful. The Scarecrow with the pumpkin head, that was a good one. My favorites are still the two archways that you did, and of course the elf woman. Not that I had any like attachment. It was just so it was just so ethereal and perfect for the thing I was trying to you know if if there was going to be an RPG, that's the freaking cover. That image
Yeah.
is just.
It's also like a great reference, like to pay an artist, hey, I want something like this.
Mhm. Uh, but I mean, guys, can you imagine how many thousands and thousands of dollars I would have had to pay? I can never repay George in what he did. So, uh,
Oh yeah, AI, yeah, generated art definitely has its place, like for personal projects and
yeah,
like
I mean,
references and so forth.
you know, I could see if like the computer game took off. Excuse me. If I got the computer game out there and it took off and it started making millions and millions of dollars, then there could be a way to afford to hire people. But George, would you rather have a couple of $1 million for the art that you came up with, or would you rather just pass that on to like a real artist? I think it would have to be a happy medium of both. But I'm pretty sure George would be like, no, just give it all to me, man. I'll take that. I'll keep making AI art. Yeah, I'll never have to work again. I'll just make AI art for the rest of my days, and then make enough money to buy all the AI art programs and be in charge of them and be the AI overlord. I don't know. I would like to see. Um, I mean, who out there, guys? Honestly, that have seen the artwork for it, can you think of an artist that could do that kind of stuff that would be good?
Do
Living or
what?
dead. Because
Uh,
nobody I know of, Vallejo and Boris and uh, the other D&D like artists, I don't. None of them really did that sort of um, that kind of higher level like fantasy. It was always, really grounded and really visceral and bloody and
Oh yeah,
uh,
if you want that, you need to find what do you call it, an artist in general, like novel fantasy artists, like
mhm.
because like
none
no,
of the
you're not
none of
gonna
the
find it in the D space.
none of the comic book artists could do that I've ever seen. Like the cover artists could come up with. I mean, obviously they could try to reproduce and start taking on adopting that style. But I don't know of anybody who does that as their that's what they do. Like that's their style or their what they're famous for. I suppose I could look around and see. Um, and I know right off the bat that the cover, if I wanted a human to repaint the cover art image, I'd be looking at about $1,500 to $2,000,
Oh
maybe
yeah,
even more. You
it's not
know,
gonna be
and
cheap.
and
Yeah, the only way it's gonna be cheap if if you already like adopted an artist,
mhm,
and that takes a lot more money.
mhm. Jackie's good, but not that good.
Plus, the art you're looking for, you do want it digital because of all the details that needs to be in there.
Hmm. Yeah, even with the stuff that I do, George, I don't really spend much time. Like I made an image during last Sunday's game, and it took me about 10 minutes to finally get uh, an image that I can show the players and go. I mean this. This is what I'm talking about. This is what these things look like. Um, and I really should have had that ready before the game, but I had no idea what they were doing that night, which is usually the way it is. I have no idea um, what they're gonna do, you know. So when they went to the place, did the thing, and met the things, I had to, on the fly, while I'm trying to DM, go over to Night Cafe and type a couple of little paragraphs of it, and it turned out okay. I don't think the player who was in charge of that faction would have agreed, but mind you, it was a future iteration of what they used to look like, so there was that. Um, but I could also really uh, get into turning it into an RPG that RPG setting. I don't know if I could. I would want to use uh, like a whole new made up set of rules for an RPG of that.
Yeah, I can't really recommend that because guard-based RPGs are like really difficult. Not just because people keep running them as D&D, but also like all the details the GMs have to keep track of because a faction play will be a factor.
Oh no, I mean just like a regular like D&D game in that world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be fine. I was just saying like yeah, making a rule system for it is probably not a good idea.
Yeah. And Omen, I'm still waiting for Armstrong to kind of send me those pieces. Armstrong was 3D printing out the tiles for the world, like 1 inch tiles to make a whole map of the world game, to where it would be like, you guys remember the game Mighty Empires?
Nope.
Okay, it was a Games Workshop game where you know play consisted of purchasing and putting down like a mountain or a castle or a windmill or a city, kind of like this game, but not on a divine level, but just on a you know ground level. You're a king and you got some money and you got some troops, and you start conquering the countryside until you get to your opponent's countryside, and then you start fighting. um, this was, obviously more, you know grandiose. You really think a board game would do better? Because to be honest, the board game seems like it would be freaking hella, like if Twilight Imperium takes 8 hours to play, this would be like it's the weekend, man. You're going to be here for the weekend, and yeah, you don't get to sleep. It got rained out and eating in a car before heading back to the office. Okay, Omen, sorry to hear that. Because I think like Hearts of Iron, it started out as a computer game, but then someone actually made the board game, which I thought, like you, that it would have been a board game first and then a computer game, because it might be cheaper to do one way than the other. But the more I think about it, the more I think a computer game would probably be cheaper. Took how many hours? It took months, months and months and months of play, um, and it took months and months and months of me managing that game. That was so nightmarish to be in the middle, and like I said, you probably weren't here earlier, Omen. Getting people's orders on a timely manner. Not you did really good too. I don't think there were any issues with your putting in the orders on time. Um,
And Rooster Games, technically the vampire is dead.
Yes, they did. Also, I think there was some of that going on in the South with the giants and the hobgoblins. But other than that, I think that was it. Yeah, and that was I was really surprised um, that there weren't more undead players. To be honest, there were I think three or four um, of those, and I mean, if you think about it, the ability to raise troops from your fallen enemies is really a powerful ability. Um,
Yeah, well, I will admit, Hobgoblins and Undead were factions I thought about uh, playing, but I decided against it in the end.
yeah, and you're not kidding, Owen. That was the literally the worst part was having players from around the world. Uh, like I would literally have to get I would like have to stop the battle. It's like, okay, I can't go forward until I talk to this other person in another country when their time zones sync up and they're not sleeping to do actual combat between empires. It so it was so hard. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to just go, fuck it, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I did the best I could. It was hard as hell. Um, and just oh, a pain in the ass.
I'm surprised you
Really,
didn't get more gray hairs.
I am surprised I didn't call 911. I'm having a heart attack.
Uh,
It was frustrating to put it mildly. But well, with a computer game, you could make it so that it would only be people within a certain time, not time zone, but a couple of time zones. Like this is for the U.S. This is for people in Europe. This is for people elsewhere. Keeping it kind of uh, yeah. I don't know. But at the same time, think how many people would play it like Jack, where he's playing against all the factions, one player against the AI, and the AI is controlling all the other factions. That's how he plays Hearts of Iron and other games. It's just him versus, all these other factions doing their thing, but the computer's taking care of it. It's like, yeah, no problem. These guys are doing all this crap, and you're doing this, and lo and behold, it's not always everybody against him, because they fight each other, and you might not see it or notice it because well in the space game, he won't even know what the other empires are doing until he actually bumps into them, and by the time he bumps into them, they may have already been exterminated by another empire.
I agree, George. I'm really looking forward to the reveal Steam because, like I said, I feel like I won
Uh-huh.
something in that game.
Hey, thanks, Agile Monk. Yes, RPGs require DMs to make rulings. Board game has rules for allowed moves, or the AI, does the things. Um, uh, a board game, obviously this is be very easy as a board game. I'm just thinking, how long would it take? Mind you, it would probably be less daunting. Say you got four guys they want to play. Okay, you don't have 34 people wanting to play, or 14 people wanting to play. You got 4 or 5 guys who want to play, and like for me, like once I started getting the hang of things, uh, I could see, your turn being pretty quick. It's like, okay, I do this, I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and each, would require, putting a tile on the board, or taking a counter, or things like that. But how would you, how how you would keep things secret on a board game when there's so much of it was secret? You know what I mean? Would you have to like be like writing shit down to play it? Would you have to have like a notebook of your secret moves to prove that you did the things and you paid for the thing at the right time? Yeah, yeah. That's why I wanted to go with, what was it, 3 actions or 5 actions or whatever it was, to speed things up and to make people feel like they're doing something, instead of just like, I do 1 action. Oh, I haven't even been keeping track for a month. I'm out, kind of thing. This way, you felt like you could build some things, especially with the 3 or the 5 tier system. You got to do this, then this, and then you finally get to that. So you could get one of those things done in a week and feel like you accomplished something. You built a city or a castle or temple, or that kind of thing, and add a little bit of time left, or you could stagger things so that every like third or fourth week you got a whole bunch of things completed. Uh, okay, I'm not sure what you mean. Yes, computers would do the calculations set still. So like playing Risk on the computer. Is that what you mean, Owen? Because that's kind of how I pictured it. Was you could use the cursor or whatever, and you could scroll over to these things and look on the map and see what you could see. Oh, hey, there's a castle there. Wasn't a castle there a couple of weeks ago. And scroll over here, but if fog of war is covering their shit, or there's nothing there, and you wouldn't see what's underground, and you wouldn't see, like, if somebody made a high priest, you wouldn't see that because you can't see that from the sky, where your god lives up in the clouds or whatever. You look down on the planet, you might see the temple, but you don't see the high priest, kind of thing. Stratego. I love that game, dude. It's funny you bring that one up. Me and my old man played that game all the freaking time. Um,
Yeah, Stratego was always one of the games everyone else didn't want to play. Maybe I was too good at it.
I don't know. I don't know. I think the death of Toys R Us really killed a lot of. Oh, hey, thanks, Agile Monk. We hit the 1,000 a while ago. I mean, it's been a uphill climb to get to the 1130 that we're at. Just the last couple of weeks, we like, this is the second time or the third time we've been to 1130. But then we lose one, go up one, lose two, go up one, lose two, go up two. It was weird, just like people coming and going, uh, like right at that 1130 mark. I noticed that the 500, the 700, the 900 mark, there's like pre-programmed points where they just take stuff from you. Um, okay, board game mechanics, but everything done with the computer. Yeah, uh, yeah. Um, I mean, it would be fun to be able to play it like an actual board game with the tiles that Armstrong was printing out. But it would also have to be one of those things that you could like put in a room, like on a table, leave it there, and then come back to. Like, every Friday night, you and the guys get together and play for a while, and then leave. You
Have a
know,
good trip, Omen. Remember to have us on when the police come by, so we can say he has a gun.
I would never ever do that, but yeah.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Thanks, Omen. And absolutely, Agile Monk, KB Toy, and Toys R Us. Their slow demise hurt society and our culture. And I think it was somewhat intentional because they could have easily just gone to an entirely online presence, but there's you can't tell me that they literally went freaking bankrupt accidentally. We went there every weekend just as a family outing, just to see, and we would go to the Lego events and other things and look at bikes and just see what was new, what was out, the games. Jackie would always go gravitate toward the Legos or the action figures. Um, the video games, all that stuff, all uh, in one place, just did not make sense. That there was suddenly no money for it.
Yeah, Toys R Us and Sears, I definitely believe were demolished like intentionally. I know Sears is more overt because like you can see like, oh, it was some guy, what do you call it, who tried to go with libertarian principles, like even if they didn't work, and then also like there was a lot of money funneling going on. But like, yeah, Toys R Us, it still feels like it was, but you can't like see what happened. Also, yes, I also know Sears really had some bad recruiting practices where they would train people and then not hire them and then put up hiring notice, but at a lower rate.
I don't think we'll ever get the real story on what happened, but even if they told us anything, like if someone did a documentary, I don't know how much of it I would believe. You know, I know it was heartbreaking for my son and I, and we still go by the place, and you know what's there? It's in
Nope.
place of it, nothing.
Oh,
It's still the same empty building.
that's
Years and years later, it's still the same empty building. Same as our Sears. Our Sears is still an empty building,
yeah.
and our J.C. Penney's, the mall's still there, and occasionally, uh, part of that I think is the Halloween superstore, the Spirit Store, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I might be thinking of a just another building that was something else. But all that is still freaking empty buildings. Years and years later, putting dungeons inside of dungeons was an interesting strategy, as was putting temples and wizard schools and things like that underground as well. Uh, and at least one player's entire presence was underground. At least one, maybe more. Um, yeah, which is why I wonder how you would do that with a in person board game. A lot of the secret squirrel stuff doesn't really translate to being able to do it when your guys are they're watching. Okay, what do you do this turn? Nothing. Oh, so you're digging underground again, huh? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, but when you're playing, online or against the computer, there would be none of that face watching. No poker face. You don't need it. You're just
I
yes.
really don't think so, Rooster, because Toys R Us were also like, well, at least in Denmark, where you went to like buy consoles and stuff because they always had good bundles, like with games and so forth.
No, but I think what he means is that
Also, I
uh,
know it's a song.
no, no, no. Well, not just that, but the phone and the tablet became like the only toy a kid needs, in the
Oh yeah,
opinion of the overlords of Earth. If everybody's got this and they're just that's all they ever do, That's all they ever, play with, and that's all they ever need, or a bigger screen. When they get home, you've got them leashed to this, and there's no need to fiddle with, toy guns and and running around and playing sports and things like that. Look at all the things that have sort of, moved us toward that digital prison. They just I just saw a video where like BB guns and Nerf guns and things like that are damn near illegal in places now.
Oh yeah, well, there is the general thing that you're still like shooting a pallet, and then they're also worried that like if you're like using the ones that are like bigger balls, like if you load them with some kind of fluid, so they just ban them outright.
Well, for here it they have to be orange and things like that,
Yeah,
which it's already been a thing for toys for a long time. But it's killing the culture of
yeah,
of of, of hunting and target practice and knowing how to use a gun here in the states that they can't kill like they can in other places because it's so much a part of our culture that they're still trying to whittle away at it because in a couple of generations if they keep doing the way they're doing, Americans will grow up never having touched even a toy gun, in which
yeah,
case they won't know how to defend or fight against them, which is stupid because I'll refer you to the Summer of Love, where the weakest of us were able to take over police stations with little to no effort.
yeah. I mean, even a .22 caliber pistol used to be license free. It's like yes, you could kill someone with it, but they're mostly like for target practice.
Mhm. We lost we lost our authenticity to pocket computers and social media. I'm making this a theme in my space cowboy setting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just saw somebody posted that meme. All this is now in your pocket. Was that you, Dean?
Yes, and then there is the guy picking
Looking
up.
at you, looking at you from inside your pocket.
Yeah, it wasn't so much a stalker thing. It's more like everything in the picture, and then
Right, not just the technology, but the
yeah,
even the guy. It's
it
like, what
was
the fuck?
wasn't so
Hey,
much a
who are
stalker
you?
joke, but yeah,
It's true,
yeah,
and in a way, it makes this, almost more powerful than the Star Trekian tricorder, and communicator
yeah,
setup. In my lifetime, literally, we went from the woo 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 thing to hello, you know. But
uh, I mean, that is one thing Voyager got right is so you would see Janeway with her. Of course, it wasn't like one of our tablets, but it was like kind of a tablet eating while working. That is
oh,
one thing they got right.
Kirk had the the ensign or whatever would come in with something, and he would move the chips around and stuff, like the floppy disks or whatever. Uh, is that porn up in your pocket?
Speaking of what do you call it, phones. One thing I really missed was like the ones where like either you could flip them up or push them up, and then there was like a keyboard under.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to make them anymore because first off, it's another point that can break or wear out, and then also like everything is standardized. So yeah,
It is amazing how the glass on our phone is so touch sensitive.
oh, I know the story behind that, and it's Apple's fault, unironically.
Oh, yeah.
So Apple wanted their iPhones, like every generation, to be a certain thickness. So
Mm-hmm.
every time the company, what do you call it, had like gotten a breakthrough and like making a glass that couldn't break, Apple would say, "Okay, cool, make it thinner," and then it just became tooling standard. So yes, we do have access to Unbreakable class, just like fine, even if it adds a little weight to the phone. It's not the tooling standard because of Apple.
Right, because then you wouldn't need a new one if it was that close to indestructible via normal
Well,
circumstances, right?
well, that's not even what they were thinking. They were just thinking, okay, make it lighter or smaller.
Well, I can't help but see. Oh, I'll be right back.
It's okay. Also been a bit, almost 2 hours.
Hold on.
So, chat, do you like saying slurs? Apparently, chat doesn't like saying slurs. You're fine. Also, you're muted.
Thank you for keeping me company and not feeling like a dork talking to myself forever.
That's okay. I would admit I would have jumped on as soon as you started with just very low energy until like food had kicked in.
No worries, man. Appreciate it. Mike, good seeing you. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. I got kind of a brainstorm for tomorrow's morning video, but I'll also do a second breakfast. Hopefully more of you guys will show up, not put Dean under the spotlight, making him feel like he's got to save an old guy from himself.
Oh, I don't
Appreciate
feel
him.
like that. I feel like you are. You make it. I lost the train of thought. Let's just say yes. I'm saving you from yourself.
All right, thanks for that. I appreciate it. I kind of get the sentiment. I think I know what you're trying to say. Everybody else out there in TV land, thanks for reminiscing down the old God Wars. I haven't thought much about that other than James L wanting to check it out, and we'll talk about that more as we get it. Because I want James to finish reading it and tell me what he really thinks. Because he plays a lot of board and war games and see how viable he thinks this might be. Maybe we'll get to play it online. The next year or so. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna go. The dog's barking at something else, and I got to use the restroom, gents.
yeah. Have fun shooting the raccoons.
See you guys tomorrow.
Have a good one.
You too.